lose to the Indiana Pacers, 112-104 in Indianapolis, but Jordan Poole drops 28 points. So we're going to recap the game, and we're going to ask a question. Are these chemistry issues with the Wizards a big deal or not such a big deal? We're going to talk about that and then chop it up with you guys at the end like we always do. Next on Locked On Wizards.
You are Locked On Wizards, your daily Washington Wizards podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
We appreciate you guys making Locked On Wizards your first listen every single day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every single day. And tonight's episode is brought to you by PrizePicks, the easiest, most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. Go to prizepicks.com/LockedOnNBA and use promo code, all lowercase, LockedOnNBA for our first deposit match up to $100. It is your host, Brandon Scott, with my guy, the real Ed Oliver. And we are going to do a recap for the Wizards' loss in Indianapolis. And then we're going to kind of talk about, are the Wizards having chemistry issues, and is this a big deal? Should we be worried, or is it just guys getting upset on the court? So we're going to talk about that, and then we're going to chop it up at the end like we always do. So let's get into it. The Washington Wizards dropped road game in Indianapolis, 112-104. Looking at the stat line team-wise, rebounds, again, were an issue. But even though they're individual-wise, Kyle Kuzma did struggle for the field, but rebounds did look good from him. So was rebounding the issue tonight, or what led to this loss tonight, man?
A lot of things. Rebounding and definitely defense again. They just couldn't guard anybody. Yeah. First half was a struggle for both sides. The second quarter got better. Corey Kispert scored a good amount in that second quarter, but the bench, man, Isaiah Jackson, even though he had that dirty play on Bilal, he scored. He contributed, scoring about 10, 11 points. TJ McConnell, they could not stop him getting to the rim, and that started, a disagreement between Jordan Poole and DeLon Wright. We'll talk about that a little bit later, but they couldn't guard anybody. Jordan Nwora went in and dunked on Gafford. Bilal dunked on Isaiah Jackson, but Jordan Nwora came off the bench and dunked on Daniel Gafford. Benedict Mathurin came off the bench as well and put up, 15 points. So they just couldn't guard anybody. They couldn't get stops. They couldn't get any boards at all. There was a bunch of times where we saw Miles Turner tip the ball out, and either Obi Toppin would hit a three or Bruce Bowen would get a second chance, and he would hit a floater. So too many times we saw that for sure. Miles Turner ended up with 13 rebounds at 18 points. We kind of got out physical at times. Couldn't get any stops, couldn't guard anybody, and couldn't rebound the ball. That's kind of just been the formula for the Washington Wizards for the most part this season. They did try to come back at the end. They cut it to 6 in the fourth quarter, but once again, they just couldn't get any stops at all when we really needed it, especially and without Tyrese Halliburton. I thought it would be a little bit closer. I didn't think we were going to win, but I thought, there were going to be moments where, we had a lead or it looked like we had a good chance. We were going to have a good chance to win. But so that was just disappointing to see that without Tyrese Halliburton out there. But you're looking at the numbers, the Pacers had 7 guys in double figures. Let's see how they shot from the 3-point line. They didn't shoot the ball well from the 3-point line. They got to the free throw line 24 times. We didn't shoot free throws well at all. 21 for 30 from the free throw line, and they out-rebounded us 54-45. They had 60 points in the paint compared to our 56. So, biggest thing really was just not rebounding the ball and just not stopping TJ McConnell on their bench, getting to the basket.
Yeah, man. Again, different game, same script. The same issues that plagued this team day in, day out, again, were highlighted tonight. And like you said, our inability to stop them on the perimeter, our inability to guard the interior, transition is slow, rotations is slow, closeouts are slow, communication is weak, rebounding, again, is abysmal. It's just, again, it's different game, same script. The issues we have are going to be season-long issues. Let's be 100 with this, man. It's the same issues every game. Kind of looking at the individual performances. Going back to free throws. that's another issue we've had all year long, man. I mean, those are free points, man. Like the charity, they call it the charity strike for a reason. You know, these are free points. We gotta capitalize at the line, man. You know, we definitely gotta get better at the line. But looking at individual performances, Jordan Poole offensively had a really good night. I mean, 28 points, shooting 11 for 21 overall, and 2 for 7 from 3-point line, 4 for 6 from the line, 7 assists, 3 steals. Now I get it. You know, defensively he's not a stopper, but 3 steals, I'll take it. You know, but he had a really good night, man. You know, he definitely had a really good night offensively. Looking at the starting five, Kyle Kuzma, very underwhelming, really bad shooting night. 4 for 15, over 4 from 3. He did contribute 10 rebounds. Now, rebounding wise, he has stepped it up rebounding. Last game 15, this game 10. So he's definitely stepping up as far as rebounding because we know this is a really bad rebounding team. But 11 points, very underwhelming for Kuz. Denny, kind of up and down. 15 points, yes. 5 rebounds, 1 steal, 1 assist. 4 for 10 for the field. So I do kind of want to see him step up a little bit, but I will take 15 points from Denny. Gaff, 6 blocks. So he had a little block party tonight. I mean, 6 blocks, 12 points, 8 rebounds. So Gaff definitely had a better game against Miles Turner because Miles Turner tends to really give him the business, man. So I felt like he had a better game against Miles Turner. I mean, Miles Turner's going to do whatever he wants to do, man. Let's be 100 with that. So, I mean, we'll take that as a small victory as far as Gafford because, I mean, looking at Miles Turner, I mean, 18 points, 13 rebounds, 2 blocks. So, I mean, he played decent matching up against Miles Turner. You know, he definitely did the best he could. And then looking at the rest of the starting five, Tyus Jones, 11 points and 4 assists. So I definitely want to see his assist numbers get better. I felt like he was on fire in the first half. He kind of cooled off in the second half, but the first half he was definitely looking pretty good. And then looking at the second unit, Kispert again had a really good game, man. You know, he was really 3 from 8 from 3, 6 for 11 for overall, 15 points. He did well. Koulibaly, I mean, really nice dunk, but very underwhelming offensively. You know, defensively he looked solid, but offensively not his best showing. And DeLon Wright and Muscala, 4 points for one, 3 for the other. So, you know, very underwhelming as far as the bench. You know, like you said, they had 7 guys scoring double figures. So on their second unit, man, their second unit definitely shined tonight. Because if you look at their second unit, 16 points by Mathurin, 14 points by TJ McConnell. I mean, really, are we letting TJ McConnell? I mean, like, come on, man. He ain't Steve Nash, man. Like, what are you doing? Like, I mean, TJ McConnell's doing whatever he wanted to do, man. I mean, I don't get that. Isaiah Jackson, formerly a Washington Wizards draft pick. He, you know, that flagrant foul, I believe that, you know, that was uncalled for. You know, he definitely had a chance. He didn't have to pull him down by his shoulder. I think he looked kind of in his feelings because Bilal dunked on him. So it is what it is, you know.
Right.
But, you know, I mean, this is just, it's tough to really break it down because every game's the same issues. You know what I mean? It's just, you feel like it's Groundhog Day. Like, you know, different game, but it's the same issues. I mean, all the deficiencies in this game highlight all the deficiencies we had all year long, man. And we cannot defend the perimeter to save our lives. I mean, teams, look, if you're having a rough year at 3-point, go play the Wizards. You're going to have a career night. I mean, in the interior, there's no passion, there's no effort, there's no heart. People are able to drive the lane with ease. Like I said, nothing against TJ McConnell. Like it's the NBA, man. If you made it to the NBA, you are one of the best. I mean, you are a pro. You can play some basketball. So it's no shade on him. But, you know, I guess what I'm kind of looking at TJ McConnell is like, he's not the most athletic guy. So it's like, come on, man. Like, what are we doing? I mean, we've got to lock this paint down, man. And, you know, yeah, Gaff has 6 blocks, but he needs some help. You know, I don't know if they need to switch up the scheme defensively. I mean, I don't know what they need to do, but they got to show more heart and passion and effort defensively because you're just letting guys waltz through the lane and there's no effort. So, and then, you know, obviously we're about to talk about the chemistry in this team because I'm saying, man, there's a lot of bad signs with the chemistry and a lot of issues in his locker room and that are being highlighted. But, you know, again, there's no heart. I think a lot of these guys are checked out. I mean, Kuz, man, you know, just looking at his body language on the court. Like I said, OKC game, he was at the press conference, man. He has a look on his face like he's done. Like he's just like real short. You know, he's a lot of frustration in his locker room, man. And you can feel that just watching him on the court, you know, the arguing. We saw that with the last 2 years, especially the year with Spencer Dinwiddie. I mean, we saw Darvis Bertans, all people trying to check somebody. You had fights with KCP. I mean, the list goes on. And we knew that when that happened that year, that was it. That's all she wrote when it comes to chemistry. Once you see guys fighting like that, especially DeLon, man. I mean, you usually don't see DeLon really get at it with anybody as far as his teammates, man. So, with him and Poole going at it, on a missed assignment, and we'll see. We'll talk about that. But yeah, I mean, that's pretty much what I got. I mean, different game, same script. I mean, the same issues. And if they're not going to try to fix these issues, then this is going to be the end result every night out, man, because they got to show some effort, some heart. That's how you play defense, man. Like, there's a lot of guys in this league that aren't athletic, but they can play defense. Why? Because there's effort, there's heart. There's putting the effort in there, man. You don't have to be the most athletic guy. You just had to have some heart and play hard. Pat Beverly, I mean, I say his name a lot because he's not the most athletic guy, but he's a dog. He has that mentality. It's his mentality thing. And they don't have the mentality here. And so we're going to talk about it, man. So before we move on to chemistry issues, man, anything you want to talk about as far as recapping the game?
No, there's a lot to talk about. So we're gonna get into the chemistry real quick. But we got a quick word about PrizePicks.
Yeah, absolutely. Tonight's episode is brought. Oh yeah, absolutely. We about to chop it up, man. Tonight's episode is brought to you by PrizePicks, man. So you probably wonder, what is PrizePicks? Well, it is actually the largest daily fantasy sports platform in North America. They are the easiest, most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. It's just you against the numbers. Instead of battling thousands of other players, including pros and sharks, you pick more than or less than 2 to 6 players in their stat projections, and you watch the winnings roll in. It's that easy. And with basketball season here, you can now pick combo projections across football and basketball for the Specials League, a league created specifically for combo projections that includes 2 or more players from different sports or leagues. For example, LeBron James plus Travis Kelce at 10.5 combo of 3 points made and receptions, you might have to take that. Want to play alongside some of PrizePicks' favorite players like rapper Meek Mill and comedian Andrew Schultz? You can do that. You can now find community plays under the promos tab of the app to view entries from some of the biggest names in the PrizePicks community each week. That's pretty cool. PrizePicks even offers a reboot policy of that, so that your entries stay in play even if one of your players gets injured. For football and basketball games, if your player gets hurt and exits the game in the first half and does not return in the second, that player is rebooted. PrizePicks is the only daily fantasy sport platform with an insurance policy for injuries to your players. So that is really key. So all you got to do is go to prizepicks.com/LockedOnNBA and use promo code LockedOnNBA for a first deposit match up to $100. And again, go to prizepicks.com/LockedOnNBA and use promo code LockedOnNBA for a first deposit match up to 1C note. So PrizePicks. And Locked On Wizards, or Locked On, has launched the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel on YouTube. Locked On Sports Today is here for you 24/7, covering the top sports stories of the day with the legendary experts of Locked On, plus our national shows covering every league. Go to Locked On Sports Today on YouTube and subscribe to the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel. So let's get to the juicy party. Obviously, DeLon Wright and Jordan Poole has some words. This is not the first time that there's been words with Jordan Poole and another player. I'm not just highlighting Jordan Poole here, but the proof is in the pudding. But then if you look at the fact that Bilal Coulibaly got hit, he got brought down pretty hard. He was on the court for a little bit. And it was very surprising that his teammates didn't get in the face of Isaiah Jackson or even try to defend him. So looking at the chemistry issues, man, I mean, they're obviously red flags, but is there a cause for concern, or are we starting to see the beginning of the end of this current core going towards the deadline?
Yeah, definitely. I think guys that have certainly checked out, they're ready for the trade deadline for sure. They're ready to move on. They're ready for their next team. They're ready for the season over, or they're going to Cancun or going on vacation. Like you brought up in the previous part of the show, I mean, Kuzma, he had one of his worst nights. A lot of the shots that he took looked like a guy who's, he's seen and read some of the trade rumors. His name come up a lot. The whole report about the multiple first round picks. He knows the situation. So I think he's trying to play hard, but at the same time, he knows what the situation is. He knows that he may not be here past February for sure. But some of the shot selection, some of the shots that he took with 9 to 10 seconds left on the shot clock, and you're pulling up from 3 in a winnable game, we're down, but you still have a chance to make it competitive. You don't have to just jack up a 3 with 10 seconds left in the shot. And Jordan Poole did that a couple times tonight too, but he did shoot the ball a lot better. He got to the basket and whatnot. But yeah, Kuz, it was just a rough night. It looked like he just wasn't fully locked in tonight, honestly. He did rebound the ball, but as far as from scoring and just shots like 4 for 15 from the field, like we know he's a lot better than that. He's had some really good games against the Pacers, so tonight was certainly a disappointing night for him. But yeah, the whole Jordan Poole and DeLon Wright thing, I didn't get to see too much of it, but I heard that they were kind of going back and forth with each other on the play. Jordan Poole, we know that he's not the best defender in the world. DeLon Wright is more of a defender for sure, one of the best defenders on his team, if not the best.
Yeah.
I know he was probably frustrated with Jordan Poole on that assignment, letting TJ McConnell get to the basket pretty easily. So yeah, you see it with guys. They're starting to get frustrated. These are the dog days of the season as well. And then Bilal gets pulled down, basically almost like a Draymond Green type of flagrant foul because, Isaiah Jackson was mad that he got dunked on by Bilal. And I thought somebody should have, got physical with Isaiah Jackson. Honestly, you see other teams, they're ready to fight after something like that. I thought that was ridiculous. I thought it was not a basketball play. I thought it was a Bush League play from Isaiah Jackson. I think somebody should have stepped him. And I talked about the Death Row DC Wizards team. We just don't have a lot of guys that are mean, honestly. And I think when we revamp this team and bring in a different culture, we need to get some guys that are mean, that play mean and play with a lot of physicality. Somebody should have definitely gotten Isaiah Jackson's face for that. I don't care if they got a technical foul or whatever, but you got to stand up for your teammate. That was ridiculous. You don't just pull a guy down because he dunked on you. So some guys, they come up to pick Bilal up, but I thought they should have definitely gotten to Isaiah Jackson's face too. We've seen a lot of teams with chemistry on this team, especially under West. I feel like almost we saw his rookie season, his rookie coaching start with West. We've seen things going on with the locker room and guys not getting along. So West definitely has a hard time getting guys to buy in. And of course, when you're losing so many games, it's hard to buy in anyway. But yeah, he has a hard time kind of being a leader of men and policing the locker room for sure. So things like this happen on every team. So, it's a long way to go. But this trade deadline is definitely coming up fast.
Yeah, Westphal Jr. And it's funny that you brought up head coaching, man. He reminds me a lot of Ron Rivera, the former coach of the Washington Commanders. And saying that is good guy, just not what we need at coaching, man. I do like Westphal Jr. I think he's a really likable dude, man. But he's lost the locker room, and this is not the first year he's lost it. And again, you point out so many deficiencies we had these 3 years under Westphal Jr., man. The defense has not improved. It's gotten worse. I mean, again, we having locker room issues. We got guys fighting. I've said it for 2 years in a row, man. I said, look, he needs to put his foot down and solidify his control over his locker room, and he needs to set the standard. And I don't see that happening, man, because the fighting, the bickering, the Poole early on in the year being Hollywood, the attitudes, the lack of effort is just that is indicative of the head coaching, man. Because your coach, it's just like your children are like the example of the parents. It's the same thing in the players for the coach. All this has a lot to do with head coaching, and the lack of adjustments. I mean, there's so many things that you can point out. Looking at Jordan Poole again, I'm not going to harp on him, man, but a lot of the issues we have this year had been around him. Him, his shot selection, the attitude, the this and that. For DeLon Wright, a veteran in his league, for the he's typically not that guy that does that. So they're clearly frustrated, very frustrated. I mean, when your record's 6-31, you're going to be frustrated. I mean, let's just be real. I'll be frustrated too. But I mean, changes need to happen, man. Changes need to happen. I mean, at the end of the year, they need to evaluate head coaching, and we need to go out there and I believe we need to go get the new head coach. That is my opinion. Because he's lost the locker room again, man. I mean, they've checked out. Kyle Kuzma is gone. In his head, he's already traded. But here's the thing with that, man. I don't know why he's surprised. I mean, because let's be real. I'm gonna be 100% in my analysis. Number one, they knew going in when he signed that contract that he was eventually gonna be moved. So anybody surprised by him being made available, you must be living on the rock or not paying attention, because that was the whole MO of why they signed him, man. Because the reason, and look, he took that money because a lot of options were out there for him in free agency. Let's be real. If he found the money, he wouldn't be a Wizard right now, and we'd be 100. Because I mean, we all know we were not his first choice. He was trying to find a contender, man. He likes DC, yeah, but I mean, they've checked out. They've checked out, and because you don't see any effort in neither end of the floor. There's no effort, there's no heart, there's no care in the world. People are now fighting. I mean, and again, we said this last year, we said this a year before, and what brings that all together? Westphal Jr. So I mean, like I said, my comparison is, look, really nice dude, man, but as far as head coach, he ain't it. Assistant coach, absolutely. He did well in Denver because as an assistant coach, but we tried it. For 3 seasons, we tried to give him every chance to coach his team up. And every year we've had locker room issues. Every year the defense is trash. Every year the effort is trash. Every year it's the same issues. And we said it last year. What we say? What is the definition of insanity? Doing the same thing and expecting different results. We got to change it up, man. I mean, we got to change it up because it just ain't working. It's not working. So that's kind of where I'm at, man.
Yeah, I mean, we're seeing the same thing every game. We really are. I mean, the only positive I'll say is Jordan Poole starting to play, better. He's shooting the ball better. He's starting to score more. But yeah, it's the same thing. Defensively, it's just terrible. Rebounding awful. And you're seeing guys that are ready for the trade deadline. You can clearly see it, and they're ready for a vacation for sure, which is coming up. The trade deadline, I want to say, starts February 8th. I will say, Gafford, he tried. He had 6 blocks. He gave some effort tonight, but once again, overmatched by Miles Turner had 18 points and 13 boards. Isaiah Jackson had 11 points. Muscala played a little bit. Once again, Danilo Gallinari collects another DNP. Anthony Gill, DNP. Diallo didn't play, and then Johnny Davis, once again, does not play at all. So, we'll see what happens with these guys once the trade deadline comes up. Pat Baldwin didn't play either, and Diallo didn't play either. So, but we're going to get to some comments here. But before we do that, today's episode is brought to you by Jase Medical. I know we come to sports to escape from some of the crazy realities of real life, but can we talk just for a minute about preparing for real life? According to the FDA, pharmacies are running out of antibiotics like amoxicillin right in the middle of the worst flu season in over a decade. This is scary. I can't imagine a more helpless feeling than if somebody or one of my kids got sick while a supply chain issue kept them from the life-saving medication they needed. Thankfully, we'll be okay because of Jase Medical. The Jase case is a pack of 5 different antibiotics to treat a long list of bacterial illnesses, including UTIs, respiratory infections, sinuses, skin infections, among others. This stuff can happen to any of us. Visit jasemedical.com and complete your physician encounter. It will be reviewed by a board-certified physician, and your medications will be dispensed by a licensed pharmacy at a fraction of the regular cost. It's never been more important to be prepared than today. Go to jasemedical.com and use offer code Locked On to get $20 off your order. All right, so we're gonna read about 2 comments here, and then we'll leave the rest of the comments for tomorrow. We will be previewing the game against who do they play tomorrow? They play somebody on Saturday? I want to say it's the Hawks. Yeah, they play the Hawks again on Saturday at Atlanta at 7:30. It's the next game. And then the schedule gets a little bit lighter with the Pistons. The Pistons actually are kind of playing well as of late. They won a couple of games, and they did just get blown up by the Spurs. And then we play the Knicks, and then we play the Spurs again, and then we play the Spurs on January 20th. But we're going to read about 2 comments here, and then I'll wrap it up for tonight. Let's see. I'm not going to read that comment, actually, from Joshua Cotton. But DMV for Life says, we deserve to lose this one. As soon as I saw Delano Jordan argument on the court during the defensive possession, I knew it was a wrap. Yeah, I mean, when you can't guard T.J. McConnell and you let him get to the basket continuously, you get a break with Tyrese Halliburton not playing. Because if Halliburton would have played, he probably would have put up, 20 to 25, 10 to 15 assists easily. So, you got a little bit of a break, but then again, you let T.J. McConnell get to the basket easily and score and get a couple of assists. So, it's just that's the way the defense has been. I mean, can't guard a parked car, can't guard a stop sign. Matador defense, Olay, just letting guys get the Jordan Nwora getting the dunk. So that's just something that we've seen, time and time again this year. So as far as guys arguing, we saw it, with Wes's year before, like you said, you talked about Bertans and Diddy getting that argument, and then Montrezl Harrell and KCP getting a fist fight, and guys, nobody like in Dinwiddie, and this, guys arguing a lot. The Wizards are not the only team where this happens, but with West, we've just seen it time and time again.
Yeah, and that's what brings it together, man. Is that another year in issues? Is so. Yeah, I mean, the arguing on the court is just like I said. When you see stuff like that, it's indicative of what the standard is set in the locker room. Because you don't see that with certain coaches, man. So, like I said, it's time for a change, man. I'm right. I've seen enough. It's time for a change.
Right. Yeah, and then Kisper, I don't think he scored at all in the second half. I got to look at that, but he had a really good first half, and then he just didn't really make an impact at all in the second half. 15 points, 3 threes, really good first half. Played 30 minutes too. He got a lot of playing time. Bilal played 22 minutes, 5.6 rebounds. Didn't shoot the ball well, 1 for 5 from the field. But I like the way that he took it to the basket on that one play with the dunk. But last comment of the night, and then there's a bunch of comments in here, so we are going to read them tomorrow for sure. We're definitely going to get to them for sure, because we see a lot of comments from you guys. Last one, Eden. No, this is it's another one. It was either DME for life. I think we already read that one. Oh, The Truth. The Truth says, how do you let TJ McConnell light you up? How do you let Jackson hit Bilal? Nobody tries to even check him. Team is so soft. Don't get me started on players arguing on the court.
Absolutely. I'm glad he said something. Absolutely. You got to check people, man. Come on now. Look, we need more dogs, man. We need more people.
Yep.
We need the choir board thing going on, man. It needs to go. Look, we need dogs, man. We need guys who are ready to scrap. I mean, look, I have no problem with somebody catching the tee if they're defending a teammate. I have no problem with that, man. No problem at all. Look, say, hate him or love him. Say what you want about Draymond Green, but every team needs one. Every team needs that enforcer. If you look at the history of the NBA, there's always been that enforcer. Who protected Michael Jordan? You're an enforcer. Whether it was Rodman, whether it was Horace, or what's his name? Charles Oakley before he got flipped to the Knicks for what's his name? The center. But anyways, everybody's had an enforcer. Mark Keefe was John Wall's enforcer for a while. You need a guy who's going to go in there and fight in the trenches, man. None of this, everybody looking around. That was really disappointing. Kisper was standing right there. Kisper is like, I don't know what he was looking at, but come on, man. Say something, do something. You do not do that to somebody's teammate, man. Nah, ain't happening. We need some dogs. The choir board stuff's got to stop. We need guys who are ready to throw down, because that's the nature of the business, man. You want to see guys fighting for each other, because they, and that's another thing that's kind of showing why there's issues in the locker room, because nobody's stepping up fighting for anybody. Man, that to me is the biggest red flag. Sometimes, teammates are going to yell at each other. Teammates are going to argue. But when you see a teammate get thrown down on the court and nobody's doing anything, to me, that's the biggest red flag out of the two situations, in my opinion. So, yeah, very, very disappointed in that, man.
Yeah, it was. And Stuart O'Flaherty, he says, the flu's a virus. The antibiotics do nothing for that. Hey, look, check out Jase Medical. You may change your mind, man. Check out Jase Medical. You got the promo code right there, locked on, Stu. So check it out, man, for sure. And then somebody else said that I say that we're going to read the comments, but we never do. I'm looking for that comment that we'll probably Eden, yeah, Eddie, actually Eddie, not Eden.
Read me now.
Says you always say that and you never read our comments. I do say that. I do say that. I do say that, but I definitely will be reading the comments. We will be doing that tomorrow. I will make sure of that, and I will go down. And you got my word, Eddie. You got my word.
You heard it here first, man.
Voice Nation said, "Don't be disrespectful at all." And then Eddie says, "No disrespect, all love." Yes, I get it, man. I get it. All love. And Stuart says, "Love you guys too." So, like I said, Stu, check out that Jay's case for sure.
Yeah, man. All love, man. Hey, man, if we could look, we can defend it more than the Wizards do, right?
I know.
I'm telling you, man. So, yeah, I mean, it's all love, man. But it all comes down to this. Before we roll, man, it comes down to this. It's the end of this core. I mean, right now, everybody's waiting. The fan base is waiting. The front office is waiting. The veterans are waiting. And the young guys are waiting for the deadline. They checked out. That's it. Because it's just you see no effort. Nobody's helping anybody out. It's just And I get it, man. You know, I see it comments that people gonna argue. Every team argues. You know, everybody argues. There's times where people, their emotions get the best of you. I get that, man. But here's the thing: this is not the first time this has happened under Westphal Jr., man. And it's always situations like this to perceive what major moves being made, because you forget when Bertans, I don't know why all of a sudden he got feel like he was going to do something, but I mean, what happened right after that? 2 weeks. I mean, I believe it was 2 weeks traded line. He was gone. So I mean, they got nipped this in the bud, man, because they talk about culture. You know, culture is very important to set up a foundation, man. You know, fighting with each other and not defending each other on the court. That ain't culture, man. So they need to, moves need to be made at the deadline in the offseason, man. Moves need to be made.
Yeah, 100%. So I just want to thank you guys for locking in and checking us out tonight again. Make sure you guys subscribe, hit the notification bell as well. We will be making an episode tomorrow, and I will, like I said, make sure to read the comments that we did not get a chance to read tomorrow night. Make sure you guys check out Locked On has launched the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel on YouTube. Locked On Sports Today is here for you 24/7, covering the top sports stories of the day with the local experts of Locked On. Plus our national shows covering every league. Go to Locked On Sports Today on YouTube and subscribe to the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel. Hell to the Wizards. Peace.